Hey guys, welcome back for episode 12 of Foulin Out.
It's 11.
Oh, it is 11?
Yeah, 11.
All right, well, that's cool. But hey, it's your boy John.
And it's your boy Raymond.
Awesome, and we're ready to get another show underway. So, what you been up to lately, Raymond? You've been watching some of this NHL playoff hockey?
Oh yeah, dude. You know I've been watching the San Jose Sharks. They're going into double OT right now.
Double OT right now, yeah. Their goalie's doing a fantastic job. It saved 50 goals or something, 50 shots.
Well, there's one goal let up, so he saved 49.
Well, I think there's been 51 shots on goal.
Well, I don't really know. I'm gonna be honest. I just watched the overtime because we were watching Game of Thrones.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if you're familiar with the television program known as Game of Thrones.
Yeah, it's one of my go-tos on YouTube. I love to watch it.
I hate this man watches Game of Thrones up until this season. Now that we're watching it together, but before that, he would only watch just the highlights on YouTube.
Well, the thing is, I don't want to pay for HBO, and I mean, it's the clips are good enough.
They're not.
Yes, they are.
You're missing so much of the story.
Yeah, so much of the filler stuff that they have to put in there. You know,
I guess that's why you didn't like this episode, because you don't like the talking part. You just like the / kill part.
I don't know. I think some people are a bit more. They just need to be a bit more upfront with their watching, their viewing audience. And I think HBO needs to give some action to the viewers, give them what they deserve.
Okay.
Instead of all this talking and walking.
By the way, this is now exclusively a Game of Thrones based podcast. We're no longer doing sports. We're sort of shifting gears. Would you say?
Sword fighting is sports.
Yeah, I guess fencing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Except this involves life and death.
Yeah. So not fencing.
So sword play.
Sword play. All right. We're a sword play podcast.
That's cool.
All right. Not really. That was a joke. Haha, you got pranked. April Fools.
Ooh, wait, but it's 420.
Well, it's actually 421, so wrong again there, bucko.
Well, you know what? I guess this episode is just about me being wrong about everything, so why not just get started with talking about the things that we're supposed to be talking about?
All right. In this episode, we're going to talk a little bit about the MLB.
Really?
Yeah, just talk about some surprising starts to the season so far. Go over a few teams. Can't cover them all. I want to keep it to an hour length. I think that's a good length for the
or
podcast.
Shorter, who knows?
Yeah. Well, it depends. Depends on where the conversation leads us.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're going to talk about the NBA. Obviously, the playoffs still going on. We're not going to do the same thing that we did last time, where we kind of go into each series individually per se. But we'll kind of talk about some storylines, what we've seen in the playoffs generally, and what we kind of expect to be coming up. And then we'll do Who Fouled Out, and we'll round it out with 3 big questions, as we always do.
Well, awesome. Let's get started.
All right.
I'm ready.
So the first team I got on here, I got the Yankees as a surprising start. They're what, 11-10?
Yes, 11-10. One game over 500.
So, this team came in with pretty high expectations for the year.
A lot of potent hitters, good offense, Aaron Judge.
Yeah, you got the Aaron Judge as sort of the head of this very scary offense. And you expect a lot from, the Yankees, obviously. This is a team that seeks to compete for,
a World Series every year.
Yeah, of course. And they've been doing it the right way a lot of the time, especially recently. I mean, they're always going to be pretty high in terms of payroll, but they brought in Judge. That he's a product that they created on their own. And
Giancarlo Stanton.
Yeah. So they got a lot of guys that are very talented. But man, 11-10. I mean, it's a winning record, but they've had 2 series against the Orioles. They had a series against the Tigers. They had a series against the White Sox. Their big series that they've had so far are the Astros.
They just came off a sweep of the Royals.
Okay,
I will give them that, but I mean AL Central.
It's the Royals. Yeah. Not a competitive team at this point.
They're going out west tonight, and they're going to be playing the Angels tomorrow in a 4-game series.
Western Conference road trip, or not Western Conference, but Western road trips are always difficult, especially for Eastern teams. But man, I think you could put a lot of this on the injuries. I mean, the injuries that they've sustained so far are pretty notable. You know, you got Judge just being put on the injured list. Hicks, Stanton, Gregorius, Sanchez, Torres. Well, actually, no, he's healthy. Severino is on the injured list. Just all these guys are going down. They could feel a whole team just with the guys they got on injury.
That's true.
And you can definitely put a lot on that. I think they'll turn it around. But it's just the start they had is not the one they probably imagined. Going into the season with a pretty easy schedule to sort of start it off.
Yeah, nobody really intimidating on their schedule other than the Astros, who swept them.
Yeah.
And then they also they did sweep the Red Sox, but
they've been struggling.
Yeah. So getting into that, the Red Sox though, yikes. Well,
yeah.
What's been going on with them?
I think I said this last podcast, but it starts with the starting pitching. They have
Chris
to be
Sale
better.
has not been good.
Yeah, I'm thinking maybe give him a little stint in the minors just to sort of figure stuff out.
Why would you give him a stint in the minors? This dude's proven that he's great.
Well, a lot of guys go down to the minors if they're recovering from an injury or if they're having, issues with their mechanics. Going down to the minors, it's a low pressure situation, especially early in the season, to work stuff out. I don't know if that's necessarily what he needs. I mean, he's a veteran. Like you said, he's proven to be great. I think that's something he can sort of be involved in the decision-making process. I don't think that's a process or a decision that the front office should make without Chris Sale's input. But clearly something is amiss.
Well, they should be getting it together here soon because while they do have a 4-game series against the Tigers, they do have a 4-game series after that against the Rays, who are the best team in baseball right now. And the way they've been having offense this season, I don't know, their pitching probably should be getting it together, or else the Rays will be scoring 10 runs on them a game.
Well, they just swept the Rays, these past 3 games. And that's kind of what I wanted to talk about is that, like, the Rays are the best team in the AL East record-wise. I would not say talent-wise.
Second best team in baseball, too.
Yeah, I would not say talent-wise they really are on the same level as the Red Sox or the Yankees. I would say they're a good team for sure. But I think their record is a little better than what they'll probably end up as. I mean, it could be wrong, but the way I look at, I think that this was an important series for the Red Sox to prove that, hey, we're struggling, but we're still competing, and we're going to figure this out, and we're going to win along the way.
Definitely, yeah.
They could take a month to figure this out. Who knows? But they still need to be able to, win games in that time span, even if it's not blowing teams out, winning 108 games like they did last season. Obviously, I don't think anyone expected them to repeat that sort of success. I mean, that's a very impressive season, especially in the AL East, where there's pretty much every team except for the Orioles are, maybe looking at a playoff appearance. But yeah, Red Sox, it'll be interesting. They got the sweep. They'll be playing, like you said, another series against the Rays.
Yep.
Is that going to be at home? Because I think this one was.
I think it will be at home.
Yeah, this one was at the Tampa Bay Rays.
Yes, it'll be at home.
So. A nice little home stand for him. Maybe we'll help him out. Who knows? But yeah.
But hey, another impressive story, and one of the teams that we cover here at Foulin Out, the Pittsburgh Pirates.
Oh yeah.
Off to a pretty good start. 12-7, the number 1 team in the NL. Just coming off a 2-1 series win over the Giants. We beat them 2 games to 1 game, although we did lose the last game 3-2 off a Buster Posey 3-run home run, which sort of sucks. But our pitching has been absolutely fantastic. Mm-hmm. Chris Archer has been a total ace up on the mound. And then you look at some of our other starting pitchers, including Tylen. He's been phenomenal, even though he didn't really have the greatest start against the Reds. He's really coming on here too. Some of the unfortunate injury that we do have to say, I heard about, was Rodriguez running into Starling Marte in short center field for trying to make a play. Rodriguez, unfortunately, is placed on the 60-day injury list, and Starling Marte is on the 10-day injury list. Marte is one of our best hitters, usually somebody within like the first 3 guys up to the bait or up to the plate. So we're definitely going to be missing him in terms of hitting power for the next few days. But yeah, looking forward in terms of who we have to play, we got a homestand against the Diamondbacks, and then we go on the road against the Dodgers.
It's gonna be tough.
Yeah, Dodgers are probably the most talented team in the NL. They're definitely up there. Maybe with I don't know if you can still consider the Cubs to be very, very good.
I would say Phillies, and if you look at
Phillies,
sheer talent base, they have a lot of those like superstar players on the team, along with the Dodgers. I think those two probably.
But yeah, I'm definitely bullish on these Pirates. They're looking pretty good. Hopefully they can get out of April with a winning record and maybe show us a little bit more of what they're showing right now in May.
Yeah, I mean, really, what you gotta do. There's teams that come out, they win in April and May. You make your money in July and August.
Yeah.
Winning games at that point, when you start to see how the pennant race is going to shape up, that's really when the real contenders separate themselves.
That's what the Brewers always used to do. They always used to play great baseball in April and May, and then when it came down to crunch time, the Cardinals or the Cubs would overtake them. Except for last year. Last year the Brewers actually did pretty well.
I really like the Brewers. Yelich is an MVP caliber player. I really like what they got going down in Milwaukee. I didn't put them in a surprise start because I figured they would be a competitive team this year, and they are. Next team I want to talk about is Seattle. I really want to talk about these guys just because they've really embraced the 3 outcome philosophy that's sort of overtaken baseball in these last few years. Where you're talking about when you go up to the plate, you're looking for either a home run, a walk, and then if you don't get either of those, you're striking out. You're okay with striking out to make a home run happen.
Efficiency.
Yeah, and it's one of those changes to the game that you see looking at the advanced analytics that maybe are counterintuitive to what a traditional coach would think. In basketball, you got the prevalence of the 3-point line coming into play in these last 5-10 years. And you're thinking, why would I only try and hit a home run? That's a harder thing to do than just putting the ball in play. But Seattle has done it, and they've showed that it's very effective. They're number 1 in home runs. They're second in walks, and on top of that, they're also number 1 in strikeouts. And they're winning games, and they're winning games big.
Yep, best team in baseball right now. Although it's a double-edged sword. I mean, maybe they're getting lucky right now, but once teams sort of realize what they're doing, they'll be pitching more outside balls, maybe trying to get their hitters off their game a little bit, trying to see if they can screw around with any of their game plan going into some of these games. But yeah, the AL West, the AL West is actually really, really good this year. A's are pretty good. Angels, hopefully this is the year that Trout can get them to the playoffs, but probably not. We'll see.
Trout, another guy very dedicated to his team, and I really hope the Angels find success just for him. I mean, dude's a player. Dude just makes plays. At the plate, in the outfield, it doesn't matter. He helps that team win. Like,
he's that
so
Swiss
much.
Army knife, dude.
He can do everything.
Yep.
Literally everything, and he does it, all of it at an MVP level. Dude's insane. All
right, finally taking a look at the Phillies here.
Phillies.
What have you been thinking about Bryce Harper and the Phillies?
Yeah, like, this is kind of like, they're first in the East, okay? And they're 12-8, I believe. Over 500. But I think I don't know. It's just I think they expected to be better. They're 5-5 in their last 10 games. Harper's played well, definitely. He's got an OPS over 1,000, or I guess 1. I mean, depends on how you want to say that. He's batting 273. He's having a good year for sure, and he's probably their best offensive player, best guy to put up on at the plate. But I wouldn't really say he's putting up MVP numbers.
I think it's too early to tell, really. I mean, like I'm a homer for my guys. I mean, like I like Josh Bell, who hits all them home runs.
Yeah.
And then Chris Archer definitely is in the running for the Cy Young, I think.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
in terms of MVP, I don't know if we can really judge a player yet until maybe like mid-May, late May, maybe come even June.
Yeah.
But definitely doing some good work there. I hate that Kutch is in the Phillies.
Yeah.
I mean, I absolutely hate that.
I wanted to talk to you about that. I actually didn't. I completely forgot he signed with the Phillies because he kind of was like a 1-year loan for the Yankees last year. They didn't go anywhere, and then he signed elsewhere. And I forgot it was the Phillies. And I was watching Phillies game the other day, and I was like, "Oh my God, that's Andrew McCutchen."
He hasn't been good since he left the Pirates. He should have stayed.
Yeah, he was so great with them. So many great games that he played in a Pirates
MVP
uniform.
season 2015.
Yeah.
It's a shame. It's a damn shame. But you know what? Best of luck to him. Actually, not really. He's on the Phillies. Get the hell out of Philadelphia.
Would you welcome him home if he wanted to re-sign with the Pirates one day?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. So the animosity is not
it's just that he's on Philadelphia. Like
Okay.
get off the Phillies and then we're cool.
Okay, that's fair. But yeah, those are the teams I wanted to talk about. That's pretty much all I got to say about that. I mean, we'll definitely come back, revisit these teams, maybe get into a little bit more detail.
Maybe bring a few more teams into the
field.
field.
Depending on what happens. I want to talk about the Nationals, but I can't really do it for this segment because they're 10-10, and that's pretty much what I expected.
They suck.
They don't suck. They're just like very average.
Yes, just like the Redskins.
Sucking. Well, the Redskins do suck. Well, they've been average, I guess, for the past few years.
Yeah, I mean, like there's like an incredible stat of like how average they've been over like the past decade.
Yeah,
it's pretty crazy.
Like they 18-18 over the last few years.
And yeah, now Alex Smith is gone, or with his bum leg.
Yeah, I feel so bad for that guy.
But anyway, let's get into this NBA playoffs. Let's go.
Yeah,
and we're happy.
Some great games.
We're
great games
happy.
to watch.
Yeah.
Biggest thing, Celtics complete the sweep.
Get out your brooms, it's a sweep.
I want that gif of after Tatum threw down the dunk. Do you remember that? Were you watching
when Irving threw it behind
his back
mm-hmm.
and then Tatum dunked it, and then I don't know what brooms Jalen's been using, but he was doing like a sweep. He got it right at the very end of the game when he was doing it, but I obviously you guys can't see this, but he was doing a sweep that was like, it was pretty much would be like throwing dust into the air, and like the longest broom of all time. He was going like,
yeah, it looked like he was like mopping a wall.
Yeah. I was like, man, I didn't know what he was doing at first. I was like, is that a broom? I don't really know.
He was doing it to each side. It looked like it was some weird dance routine or something.
Yeah. But yeah, besides criticizing Jalen's ability to do sweeping motions, great. I would say a good series. I don't want to say great.
Any 4-0 is not really a great series.
Well, great series in terms of how the Celtics played. There's this notion of like competitive sweep, like, oh, they put up a good fight in every game, but really, I would say that's kind of what the Pacers did. Competitive sweep kind of seems like a, counterintuitive.
No, but it definitely was. I think all of these games were decided by 10 points or less. Or?
Yeah, I think for the most part.
I don't know about game one.
Game one was 94 or 84-7.
84-7. So yeah, 10 points or less. Game. All these games were pretty tight, and it never really seemed like the Celtics had like all of the momentum until like the final 3 minutes. Mm-hmm. Like the outcome of the game was always somewhere in the balance.
Yeah.
And same goes for Game 4 that we watched today. Like yeah, the Celtics were up 4 or 5, but once they got up 7, then they got up 8, and then 10 with the Jason Tatum dunk.
Yeah.
It was pretty much game over at that point. That was a demoralizer for the Pacers, and they couldn't recover from that.
And that's why you need a closer. We saw in this series that as good as Bogdanovich is, he's not a closer, and that's not any fault to him. Very good player. I love the way he plays. He does it the right way. Doesn't make stupid decisions with the ball. But you can't win playoff games without a closer. And we have a closer in Irving. They lost their closer in Oladipo, and that's the difference in the series by far. Because they play good basketball for 3 quarters, but fourth quarter they just crumble. Game 3 they turned the ball over like 3 of the last 5 possessions or something like that.
Yeah, throwing it out of bounds on inbound plays.
Yeah,
that's pretty ridiculous.
Unexcusable stuff. And they don't have big shot makers down the stretch. They get you a tough bucket because 2 minutes left in the game in a playoff game is the best defense that you're going to face in any basketball environment ever.
Especially the Celtics, who play really good defense most of the time.
Mm-hmm. And when they're locked in, they play good defense. And in the playoffs, they're pretty much always locked in.
Yeah, Kyrie Irving has definitely been picking up the slack from where Marcus Smart used to be.
Oh, yeah.
His defensive intensity has been absolutely incredible.
And it's what you love to see, especially from a guy that, there's been questions. There's been murmurs this season when the Celtics were struggling.
This season's been a dumpster fire for media woes.
Would Irving leave? Things he would say, because he's not always the best at talking to the media, and he would say some things that
the earth is flat.
Well, yeah, that's a pretty big one. But just talking in ways that seemed like, man, he doesn't want to be here. The way he talks about the players, the way he kind of addressed.
We'll see on July 1st.
Yeah. Or
June 1st, I forget.
Something like that. And it's just like, wow, is he really going to leave? But when you see him play like this, putting his body on the line, getting on the floor to win some 50-50 balls, I'm not going to say for sure this means he's staying, but it certainly is indicative of a commitment to a team.
Yeah. But any places do you think that the Celtics need to improve upon in order before they go on and play the winner of the Bucks Pistons, presumably the Bucks?
Yeah, I think what I saw from Al Horford, great defender, and he doesn't have to be a go-to scorer. He averaged 11 points in this series, and I think that's perfectly reasonable. If they need him to step up and score more, he can do that, generally speaking. If he needs to score less, it's perfectly fine. He's very impactful without the ball. The problem I had with him this series is his shooting splits. He's shooting 34% from the field, 31% from 3, and 78% from the line. It's not going to cut it. He needs to be efficient. He brings great efficiency with his offense when he does shoot. He always takes those nice little jump hooks. He takes open threes off the pick and pop.
Very efficient shooter. You rarely see him take a contested jump shot.
Only if it's late in the shot clock. He only takes good shots, and they haven't been dropping, and we need his offense against a Bucks team. Well, I mean, presumably.
It's 3-0.
Yeah, it's 3-0. Bucks have been blowing out the Pistons. So, presumably, we're going to be going up against a Bucks team that averages the most. I think they average the most points in the East, maybe behind the Warriors overall. So, we're going to need his offense. And make Giannis work on defense, because I think they'll be matched up defensively.
Yeah, I would presume so, unless maybe Tice or Baines gets put on him.
If Tice gets put on Giannis,
do you think
bury that man.
Do you think Haywood would get matched up on him?
I mean, the way the Celtics play defense, they switch everything.
Yeah.
So I think all players, for the most part, are going to end up guarding Giannis, but I think coming down the floor, it'll be Horford or Baines. And then if Hayward or Tice has to switch on to them in that case, then you do what you do within the scheme of the defense.
Yeah.
But you can't really guard Giannis.
True. So all right, I think we've done this series a bit good of justice.
Yeah.
Hats off to the Pacers for doing a pretty good job without Oladipo.
They'll be back next season, and they'll be good.
What do you think about the Thunder Trailblazers series that's going on right now with Russ and Dame going at it?
Yeah, I love these two players. Very different style of point guards. Both guys that can score in a hurry. They make their team better. I will stand by Russell Westbrook. In terms, I won't necessarily say he always makes the best decision when shooting the ball, but I think people try and discredit his ability as a team player. They think people think he's a selfish player.
He sort of is.
I don't think his selfishness is a bad thing. This team is constructed around Russell Westbrook. He is the engine that drives this offense. He should get the ball most of the time. He is their best player by far, and he makes
better than Paul George?
I think so. I think Paul George is a great defender, and I think Paul George is an MVP caliber player. They have the luxury to have two MVP caliber players on their team. But I think what Russell can do with the ball and all that he brings on the offensive end is more important, or is better than what Paul George does offensively and defensively. Because I think Paul George, early in the season, he played very well. There was murmurs of MVP possibilities. But he has stretches where he's very dominant, and he has stretches where he's not dominant. He always brings defensive pressure. I love him on the defensive end. But, I mean, he has the same problems that Westbrook does, where he sometimes can't manage to put the ball in the basket. And
yeah. But going back on that defense, the defensive thing, going off of the defensive issue, Westbrook has been playing really good defense this series. It seems like he has like a big beef with Damian Lillard.
Yeah, they don't like each other.
I don't know. Is there any history behind those two or something?
I think they're both competitive guys, and I think when the media talks about, point guards out in the West, obviously Steph Curry's name comes up first, but then after that, you got who's next? Who do you put next? And I think they're thinking about that. That both of them, they're like, I want to be the next best point guard. They probably think they're the best.
Russ definitely thinks he's the best.
Yeah, they don't want to think about who's the next best, but they're both competitive guys, and they think they're the best guy on the court when they're playing. And I think that's where it comes from. I don't know if they have a ton of history between the two of them.
I don't think so.
I can't remember them playing. I don't remember another series where they played each other, but I can't.
Game 4 is going on right now, though. It's 70-57. Blazers up on the Thunder. Lillard has 20 points. McCollum has 14. Looking over at Russ, though, 5 of 18.
Yeah.
2 of 5 from 3. 3 fouls and 13 points. Paul George, 5 of 14. 14 points as well.
Yeah, there you go. And that's where the Thunder run into trouble, is they just can't, they don't have the efficient scoring that you need in the playoffs. And I would say Damian Lillard is by far the better offensive player, and he just gets it done. I think he got a lot of crap last year for the sweep. They got swept by New Orleans and Anthony Davis. But Damian Lillard is a cold-blooded killer.
Definitely.
And he's showing that in this series. But it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. If the Thunder manage to come back in this game, it could be an interesting game 5.
Yeah, definitely. But you know what? Who else is a cold-blooded killer?
Who?
Kawhi Leonard.
Oh yeah,
absolute cold-blooded killer. And the Raptors are coming back against the Magic, and the same thing with the Sixers.
Mm-hmm.
Both of them coming off of Game 1 losses
to the
Magic and the Nets, respectively.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, some rumors, some talking going around,
yeah.
Like, are the Raptors going to lose? Or Kyle Lowry putting up 0 points in Game 1. Well, they've definitely shut them up.
Yeah.
Both, is Philly up, 3-1 now?
3-1.
Raptors playing tonight.
I think they might have already finished. I think it's 3-1.
Yeah, 3-1. They blew the Magic up by 22 points.
Yeah. And that's Raptors showing they're not messing around. LeBron's gone. It's their time to make the finals. And I think both the Raptors and Sixers they learned from that game 1 loss. Don't play with your food. Don't look forward to the next round. Take care of business, and then they get to battle each other in round two,
the quarterfinals.
Semifinal. Conference
semifinals, overall quarterfinals.
Yeah.
Raymond, get your stuff together.
Well, they always call it the semifinals, so no big deal.
Okay, fine. No big deal. You're weird.
All right, whatever.
But yeah, I mean, Ben Simmons has definitely gotten it together. Kawhi Leonard is putting this team on his back. Kyle Lowry's shown up in some of these games.
Siakam.
Yes, Siakam.
Dude, that guy is going to get paid, and he deserves it. He is so good. He's the most improved player. He gets my vote. Last year in the playoffs, I think he was averaging like 6 points. This year, I think he's up to like 16, something like that.
Crazy good, especially with a lot of talent leaving Toronto, like DeMar DeRozan.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, good job from those two teams. But now looking onto the Rockets, going up against the Utah Jazz. James Harden had a pretty awful start to his to Game 3. Going 0 of 15 from the floor to start.
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
He got asked a question from a reporter after the game, and he said, I didn't even know I started 0 of 15. But Chris Paul was just like, I let him know. It's like, hey, James, we need you here. Come on. But I think more than 2/3 of James Harden's points that game came from the free throw line.
14 to 16.
So, yeah, crazy. So while he was not making a lot of his shots, he was still getting opportunities to score points because he either gets fouled on his shot on his up fake, or he can drive it to the hoop, and while it may not go in, he still gets that ref to call the foul on.
Harden is a master at drawing contact.
He proved it in Game 3.
Sometimes it's through flops. There are definitely times where you see him clearly accentuate contact or create contact that isn't there by running into a defender or falling over in like a 3-point shot. But for the most part, the contact that he draws is because of how talented he is at scoring the basketball and the respect that defenders have to give him. And he utilizes that respect to get contact, get to the line, get easy points.
Yeah, especially with that devastating step back too.
Yeah.
You see how defenders play off him on his side now?
Yeah.
They let him get that lane to the hoop if he wants it.
Yeah.
Because they'll just play on his side to avoid the step back 3.
Which he's mastered.
Yeah. Crazy. But I think this series is going to end in 4. I don't see the Utah Jazz coming back.
I think everyone expected this, even as a 4-5 matchup. The Rockets just clearly, with the most talent, they're all healthy now. Their record isn't indicative of how good they are as a team. They struggled with a lot of injuries this year, and Harden really had to take the team, put them on their back. He had a stretch where he's putting up like 50 every night.
Yep.
And yeah, Harden's, even for his terrible start in the fourth quarter, 3 of 6 from the field, 2 of 4 from 3, I believe. So he gets it done when it counts. But then Mitchell on the other end, having he's struggling. Started off, I think it was, I want to say 5 of 7, something like that. And he ends up 4 of 20 in the second half, and that's just not going to cut it. When you got a guy like Harden that's struggling, you need to be able to win that game. Harden is the heart of the Rockets, and if the heart is struggling, you need to be able to say, we're going to dominate this game, we're going to win, and then take it to the next game. But they couldn't even do that. So now they're at this point where they're at the middle of the pack,
They're overachieving right now, in a way, by getting to the playoffs and getting the 5 seed.
Yeah. I think they play better than the talent they have, and that gets exposed in the postseason. And you're at this weird point. It's like, clearly they're not a championship caliber team, but they have 2 good guys. Mitchell is a second-year player. He doesn't have the efficiency, but he's a volume scorer. And then you got Gobert. He's 26. He's going to be entering the prime of his career. He's a defensive player of the year candidate pretty much every year.
Yeah.
All team
Him
first
against
defense.
Klay Thompson a lot,
Yeah, Klay Thompson, another guy that, he always competes for that. Draymond Green. But he's up there with those guys. Kawhi Leonard, Paul George.
And fun, yeah.
Yeah, you got to build around those guys. But how do you do that? Do you tank or do you stay in this like middle of the pack? I don't know.
You gotta be a little bit competitive, I think. Maybe make some moves in free agency.
Yeah.
But then it's hard to convince people to come out to Salt Lake City.
Yeah.
Especially when, I don't know how good their fan base is, and it's sort of
they've had some issues recently with some racism going on in the stadium. So it's going to be hard to draw people out there.
It's also full of Mormons.
All right, well, we don't discriminate on this show.
Do we?
No, we don't.
We just pointed out what we see.
Yeah, I mean, you're objectively correct,
yeah.
I would suppose. I guess the last series, I don't have much to say about Spurs versus Nuggets. I don't know if
It's just crazy. That's what, 3-1 Spurs, right? Or 3-2?
I think it's 2-1 Nuggets.
No, the Spurs are definitely up.
No. Nuggets won last game.
No, you're wrong. You are wrong. I'm going to fact check you like Donald Trump. Oh, it's 2-2. So
2-2.
we were both wrong.
So we were both wrong. It's tied. Yeah. So 2-2. Good series. White is showing up as a big time player for the Spurs. Popovich always gets the best out of his guys. They don't have any big superstars. I mean, maybe DeMar DeRozan. I wouldn't really call him a superstar, but they got guys that play hard.
Aldridge, 24 points in Game 4.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, like Nikola Jokic, that dude is just a total unit.
Mm-hmm.
Looking at his stats, 10 of 22, 1 of 4 from 3, 12 rebounds, 8 assists, 29 points.
Yeah,
go get him, big boy.
I love Jokic. I don't think this team, even as a 2 seed, is the team to beat outside of the Warriors. I think they probably get bounced in the second round, but I think in the future you're going to see the Nuggets pretty much be in perennial playoff appearances, maybe a finals appearance.
If you're looking at like guard play and stuff, I think the Trailblazers outclass the Nuggets when it comes there. It's just going to be like how good their big guys can go up against their big guys in the paint, and if they can like withstand the wrath of Nikola Jokic.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, moving on to the name of our show, this segment that everybody loves, that everybody sends emails and says that they want to hear more about. Who fouled out?
Who fouled out? Well, I got not Nikola. Sorry. I got Nikola.
Wow.
I was gonna make a play on Jokic and Nikola Vucevic, but I couldn't think of a way to make a pun that worked.
Not punny at all.
Yeah. Oh well. I got Nikola Vucevic on the Orlando Magic. Their best, most efficient scorer. 13 points, 38% from the field, 33 from 3, and 84% from the free throw line. Not good enough. He needs, I don't think anyone really thought the Magic were going to win this series. Obviously the Raptors are far superior talent-wise. But man, the guy got voted to an All-Star game, and this is how he shows up in the playoffs for his team. I mean, you got Fournier and Augustine balling out game 1 to get him the win, and then he hasn't showed up all series. So that's who I got to foul out. It was a tough choice. The only reason I was thinking not doing that is because Magic weren't expected to win the series. But at the same time, you're a playoff team. You need to show up and play hard. It doesn't matter what seed you are. I know basketball isn't really known for their big time upsets, but you still got to play like you're gonna win. And I don't think Vucevic has done that.
Yeah. So for me, we don't really talk a lot of hockey here, but I do have to mention this. So,
All right.
The Tampa Bay Lightning.
Oh.
President's Trophy winners, 128 points this season, 62, 16, and 4, get bounced in 4 games to the Columbus Blue Jackets. The series wasn't even close. It was not even close. They got outscored 19-8. They got doubled up on, more than that, against the Blue Jackets, a team that barely made the field.
Wow.
The absolutely pathetic performance.
Did you see the tweet that Tampa Bay Lightning set out?
No. Tell me the tweet.
It was very sad. Yeah, I don't remember it verbatim, but it started off with something like, "We don't have words, and we know you don't want to hear them for us. We're so sad, blah, blah, blah. Thank you for supporting us. This isn't how we wanted it to end." And I was like, Jesus Christ. They had like, you feeling okay, guys? Like,
yeah,
oh
well,
my
they
God.
definitely should be doing some soul searching after getting embarrassed like that. Having some of the most points in like a few years, I think. I think the last team that came close to 128 was the Caps. They had 125 one season, I think, like 2-3 years ago.
Yeah, lost to the Penguins.
Yep. As always, my Penguins. But we won't mention them on this show for obvious reasons.
What happened to them?
No, we don't have to bring that
What
up.
happened to them? I think they...
Raymond. We don't have to bring that up.
They got swept.
Okay, well, you know what? Why don't I just make out of here like Jaylen Brown, do my weird sweeping
Bring
to the side.
Brooms out.
It's the season for brooms.
Yeah.
It's season sweeps, man.
It's spring cleaning. Get
Cleaning.
the brooms out.
Yeah, I saw you doing some cleaning today.
I did do some cleaning. I cleaned up our kitchen. That's all I got.
Good. All right, but let's lay these 3 big questions down
right.
here. Let's send our audience off with something to look forward to.
All right, you got one for me?
Yeah, I got one for you.
All right.
So with all we've been keeping track of the NBA playoffs, right? There have been so many fights been going on, like Jimmy Butler against Dudley, Kevin Durant against pretty much everybody on the Clippers. The Bucks and the Pistons are even getting into it too. I saw a video of the Bucks coach telling his players not to get up when there was a fight going to go on the court.
Yeah, you can't leave the bench.
What's your opinion on all this? And does it take away from the game? Or because like a lot of these teams I don't even think are rivals. Maybe Milwaukee and Detroit, but like the Sixers and the Nets, really? The Nets have only been around for a few years. I don't know how big of rivals they could
Well, they
be.
used to be the New Jersey Nets. They're a little different.
Yeah, a little different. But give me some insight. Give some insight for the viewers.
Here's the thing. We've been losing this fight that we've seen in the playoffs for a long time. And it has to do with the internet, the way guys are training nowadays. They meet so young, and then they're back in the NBA on different teams, but they're still friends. So you're losing a lot of this fight, this animosity. And here's the thing. I don't want to say that, like, you should literally be so pissed off that you're, like, meta world peace, jumping into the stands, punching fans.
Malice at the Palace.
Yeah. Like, I think that's too far. But I really like when guys are competing hard, and you can tell they don't like one another on the court. I'm not saying you got to be like, oh, this, you don't actually, like, hate, the other people, but I want to see you guys compete. It's a game, and it's entertainment, but there's pride. There's pride to this game. And I think when you're all buddy with the guys on the other team, it kind of takes away from the product that the NBA is putting on. And it kind of takes away from like the integrity of the accomplishment of winning an NBA championship. If you think all these guys are like best friends and maybe not putting, I'm not saying they aren't putting out their best effort. I think they are, but it just sometimes doesn't always like feel that way.
Yeah, that's totally true. I mean, I like to see like some players get into it too. Mm-hmm. But it just seems like they've just started popping up out of nowhere. Like first we saw it with Patrick Beverley and Kevin Durant.
Beverly's always been
Beverly's like that, but now we're seeing it with the Bucks, and the Bucks aren't usually a team that usually get into it with other teams. The Sixers and the Nets, Jimmy Butler just going off on Dudley, both of them getting texts and I think ejected. Mm-hmm. I don't know. To me, it's just sort of weird.
It's the playoffs.
Yeah,
it brings out the worst in people because they want to fight, they want to win, and the team on the other end of the court is the ones preventing them from doing that. So you're going to do whatever it takes to win. That's kind of my take on it.
All right, that's cool. All right, lay on me. Lay on me a question of your concern.
All right, we talked about Blazers and Thunder, that series. Talking about Dame and Russ. All right, you got to build a team from scratch. You can have any players you want, but you got to pick Damian Lillard or Russell Westbrook to build around. Who you choosing and why?
I don't have their numbers in front of me, so this is mainly going to be a pick about, in life, everything is like a business. You want to work well with the people around you in order to get you and your team to accomplish the goals that you have set for you. Mm-hmm. Excuse me. Oh, no, it's not coming yet. I have a sneeze on the way, and it's coming soon. You. All right. I don't know, but it's allergy season, so bear with me. But you want the people who can not only get you to where you want to go, but also encourage you, work with the team, support everything around you, and not be a dick. And I think Russell Westbrook is a big dick. I mean, he's a guy that's out there, it seems, for his own self-interests. He's out there to make his numbers look good. He's out there to make himself look like the best asset, if OKC were to get rid of him or potentially trade him, or if he was a free agent and wanted to move somewhere else in order to increase his value. Damian Lillard, on the other hand, I don't know him all too well, but he does not seem like that kind of person. And if I'm looking to build a team that wants to compete together for a championship, I would definitely take Damian Lillard. Yes, he may not be as talented as Russell Westbrook. Yes, his numbers may not be as good. But damn it, I would rather have that dude on my team.
He's a cold-blooded killer in the fourth. You got Dame time.
Definitely.
He does the slaps the wrist when he pulls up from 30 feet, drains it in the eye of the defender, and he's so cool about it. He's so cool. Mm-hmm. When he goes up for that shot and it goes in, there's no celebration. He taps the wrist. He says, "You know what time it is."
Yeah.
Yeah. I love Damian Lillard. And he's perfect for the way the game's going. Russell Westbrook doesn't always have the best percentages from a three-point range. I don't know if you're aware.
No, he's not very efficient.
Damian Lillard does, and he has pretty much. He's probably the next best shooter besides Steph Curry at the point guard position. I like that pick. Right. I really do. I mean, I like Westbrook, I think, more than you do. I don't think he's as selfish, but I would also choose Damian, I think.
All right. And finally, one from me to you, to lay on you.
Mm-hmm.
This one will hit home a little bit, but do you think the Celtics can beat the winner of the Bucks Pistons, presumably the Bucks?
Was that the sneeze?
No.
Okay, that was just you having.
That was just yeah, it was just me coughing into the mic.
Okay.
Do you think that they can take on the Bucks without Marcus Smart?
Marcus. Here's the thing. Marcus Smart, he's got something you can't measure. You see where I'm pointing?
A nipple.
No, heart.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. He probably also has a nipple.
He should, unless it's like Game of Thrones where they cut the nipples off.
Oh, like the Unsullied.
The
or
Unsullied,
yeah. As you all well know by this point, Game of Thrones exclusive podcast.
Spoiler.
Yeah, spoilers. But no, yeah, he plays so hard, and the numbers don't always reflect his impact on the court. And you say that for a lot of guys, right? Like you say, oh yeah, they play hard, blah blah blah. For Marcus Smart, he is the epitome of that. He's
that glue guy.
Yeah, a glue guy like Al Horford, but we got two of them. And the Bucks are a very scary team. Celtics are playing better. They're playing locked in. Hayward is playing well. Morris Sr. had a pretty good series against the Pacers. Definitely better than...
He had a good game one.
Yeah, and he had a good game this game as well. Struggled pretty poorly. He didn't make a shot in game 2. Game 3 he was fine. But we got guys playing better. But it's going to be a lot tougher without Marcus Smart. Even though he probably wouldn't be matched up on Giannis most of the time, he just makes the defense communicate so much better. And I think our defense is going to get a little bit exposed, more so than it did against the Pacers in this game. And without Marcus, it's going to be tough. But who knows? Maybe he'll be back if we can push it to a Game 6, Game 7. Maybe the timetable would start coming into play as 4 to 6 week recovery time. It's been about I think 2 weeks at this point. So yeah, it would be a huge help if we could get him back probably towards the end of the series. But if I had to choose right now, I would say no, but not impossible. I would say they probably wouldn't, but anything is possible when you got Irving and you got
Anything
Hayward.
is possible.
Oh yeah, as you guys know from our intro.
Yes.
I got confidence in my guys.
Any total game predictions? Like, do you think the Celtics take it to 7?
I think they can definitely push it to 7. Even without home court advantage, they've proven they can win on the road now. With having a closer in Irving and Hayward, the road isn't as scary a challenge as it was last postseason. So I think they can definitely keep the series alive long enough to get Smart back, maybe. And who knows? Maybe Irving will pop off and really make it a series.
Who knows?
But yeah, that's what I got for you.
That's all I got too.
Is that it?
I think it is. Is it?
Who knows?
All I know is Game of Thrones better come out with a good episode next week.
All right, episode 2 is good, but episode 3 is going to be insane.
Going to be literally on fire.
Yeah, en fuego.
Yes.
5 bags of popcorn, would you say?
Yeah. I mean, I think, I wouldn't take my little kids to it, but
yeah, probably not.
But I think that the violence serves the plot a bit. So, and I was gonna give it 4 bags, but because it does such a good job of crafting a story, I'd give it 5 bags of popcorn, and maybe a toy sword for
the little
kid,
ones.
For a little kid to take as a souvenir.
So they don't have to watch the movie.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
But yeah, that's all we got. Next week we'll be back with more Game of Thrones related talk. No more sports. Sorry guys, I hope you don't like sports because Game of Thrones exclusive. Just kidding. It'll be sports.
Yes.
See you guys next week.
Love you guys.
Bye bye.